Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today we continue with the communication skills lecture, and we'll go on from where we left last week. I'll start again from study skills. Remember, we said that study skills, there are many facets of the study skills. Study skills, you need to be able to have good listening skills. You need to be able to have good note-taking skills. You need to be able to have good library skills and also good exam taking skills. So today we continue with we start from the note making skills. We talked about how to organize your time last week, and so today I go on to note making skills. Now we start then. If you're going to go on making skills, we start then by asking, what are notes? Now notes are written records or something that we would like to remember. As university students, we go for lectures, we listen to lectures, and we want to be able to record what we listen to, because very soon there's going to be exams, there's going to be cuts, and we don't want to be left with very little marks because we did not take notes. So we take notes at lectures. We listen to lectures, and in other words, we record the lectures. So why do we record lectures? We record them in such a way that we are able to access them when we need them. So how are we able to access notes when we need them? We have to take notes in on places where we can later on go and read. So what is selective? What is note making? Now we have already seen what notes are. Now what is note making? Now note making is a selective, critical, and above all, personal exercise. When you're note making, you only write down what you consider important based on your understanding of the purpose of the lecture, or based on your understanding of what you're not just listening to, but probably of also what you are reading. So what then do you need to make notes as a student? As a student, what do you need to make notes? Now, why do you need to make notes? As I've said, you make notes to remind you of the lecture, of the reading, of the interview that you have just done. You also write notes to internalize ideas and express them in your own personal way. Now, once you've taken notes, you're supposed to use your notes to enhance your understanding of the lecture you have just had. And each of us have different ways of understanding. So we need to use our own words. We need to use our own words to make our notes even more understandable to us. So we are all very different. So notes made by my neighbor may not help me much if I do not also have my own personal input into the notes. Even if I borrowed notes from my friend, but I have to read them, I have to go and to the library, I have to find out from which resources I can find the same notes and make my own notes as well. You also make notes to improve your attention to a speaker or what you are reading. In other words, you'll be more attentive in class if you're taking notes. You'll be more alert if you're taking notes. And even the person giving the lecture will be more encouraged. If they see that you are actually taking notes, then they'll feel that they need to give you their best, because you are also being alert and attentive in class. Now, what are the characteristics of notes? Now, notes are sketchy in nature. In other words, you do not sit down there and plan to take every single word of the lecture. It will not be possible. There is no time. Remember, speaking is faster than writing. So, notes are sketchy in nature, they are short and brief, and they are focused. They are focused. They are focused on ideas. Notes are straight to the point. Uh, they're unexplained, and then notes are without argumentation and exemplification. In other words, when you're taking your notes, you take the most important part of the notes. You are going to fill the notes out later. You're going to look for explanations, argumentations, and examples later on when you're now going through your notes and beefing them up, because notes must be beefed up. Notes are presented or written in point form. I think, was it yesterday that I was I was seeing somebody in a lecture who had a whole page of notes in block form, and everything they were, that was being said, they were trying to write down. And this was somebody who has gone through communication skills. This was a second year. So you wonder, that whole time when lectures on note taking were being given, where were they? So notes are presented in note form. Now, you also use abbreviations when you're taking notes. Why do you use abbreviations? To help you catch up with time. You also use symbols, you also use acronyms as much as you can. So when you're using acronyms, the only thing that you need to be know when you're using abbreviations, symbols, and acronyms is to be consistent. Already there are some notes. I mean, there are some symbols and acronyms and abbreviations that are universal. Like, let's say, for instance, the symbol of art. That is a universal symbol. You don't have to create your own. Even and, they're universal symbols for and. You don't have to create your own. They are universal symbols, these days, for even abbreviations. Like, let's say, your own university. JUST is a whole, abbreviation for Jaramogi Oginga Odinga University of Science and Technology. You could not write all that. So if in your notes the name of the university crops up, you just quickly write the abbreviation. Acronyms as well. Again, JUICE is an abbreviation, but it's now also become an acronym. You know, Words like UNICEF are now acronyms. There are many people now who don't even know what UNICEF means. They just understand it's a UNICEF, and they know that is an UN agency that uh, that focuses on children issues. So those are going to help you take your notes, because they'll save you time, but at the same time enable you to take as much as possible. Now, also, when you're taking notes, you listen. You listen to, because remember, you are taking short notes. Remember, you are coming straight to the point. You remember your notes are not explained. So, but at the same time, you want to take as much as possible to help you later. So, when you're doing that, therefore, we have seen you use abbreviations, you use symbols, and you use acronyms. So, what are the note making strategies? Now, you want to use the right materials to make notes, depending on the convenience, depending on the time, depending on the place where you are at, and depending on for the length of times that you're going to need the notes. I can tell you that I've still got my undergraduate notes, and as a lot of them, are still very useful to me, because when I go back to my first year notes, it is still the same material. It leads me to the references that I want. Maybe some of those references are no longer available now. But when I go back to my undergraduate notes, I can still find those references. I can still find those wisdoms. So, and even as a lecturer, I've still got notes from the time when I started lecturing, and they're still very, very useful indeed. All I do now is to transfer them from paper to electronic, and of course add more material depending on what more new knowledge has come out in the area. But they help me. So for now, as students, first year students, in your first year, you need notes to help you revise for your exams, and to just help you keep the knowledge, because I'm sure most of you are even doing the ed, and after about 3 years you shall be going out there to teach, and then your notes are your content. Your notes is what you are going to teach. So take good notes. How do you take good notes? You choose the right material. Now, as I've told you, for me, as a first year, as an undergraduate, in those days, what we used to take for taking notes were notepads. Some of us used notepads, some of us used foolscaps and pens. These days, when I'm taking notes, whether or not I'm at a meeting, or whether I'm at an interview, or whether or not I am, even making notes from books, I use my laptop. That's for you. For those of you to whom laptops are available, laptops now are a fantastic way of making notes and taking notes. Fantastic, because they are there forever and ever, for as long as you can. You'll be able to to need them. If you don't have laptops, you can use your pen, notebooks, foolscaps, and don't use scruffy papers. Also, try not to use notepads or notebooks that are too small. Try probably an A4. A4 foolscaps and notebooks are quite ideal. You can use them um, without having to squeeze your notes, and later on when you come to read them, you can't make out what you wrote. Now, as you are making notes, usually this would be from books in the library. It's always good to keep record of the books that you have referred to. It's because you'll want to go back to the library or to find this book. So you must keep the records. What are the records? The records are the names, the title of the book, the name of the author, and probably even the page or the chapter from where you made your notes. So those at least for the time being should help you. The name of the author, the title of the book, the name of the author, and the pages or the chapters from where you are making your notes. This is called bibliographical information. Always keep this to help you. Now, as you are making notes, you also use your own words. In other words, you paraphrase the actual information. And this brings us back to the point where we are saying that you don't write every single word down. In other words, you read maybe a paragraph, you get the idea, and then in your own words, you write down what the idea is. In other words, you paraphrase. So, paraphrasing means using your own words to internalize somebody else's idea. It can be from the lecture, even from the lecture. As you listen to the lecturer, you get the gist of what the lecturer is saying. Lecturers will always give you a title to the lecture, and then they'll start using words that are going to help you make out which are the main ideas. They use what are called signal words. This is a very important idea, or there are three main ways, or using words that tell you that this is an idea worth keeping. So always keep your ears open for the words that are signaling what the main ideas of the lectures are. So once you have done that, then use your own words to paraphrase the lecture. Lecturers often get quite annoyed when they are uh, marking your work. They come across their own words, they come across their own lectures, they come across their own notes. This shows them that you may not have quite understood. And though it may be the correct answer, but you may not impress the lecturer enough to get the full marks. So, analyze when you're making the notes, analyze the materials critically and select